was going to do today is teach you a simple smoothie recipe. I'm Elise, I'm the dietitian at the hospital, and I think we have to keep things simple. So you can always start with a simple recipe and add things to it to modify it. So a smoothie can be a great thing to start your morning with. So I hope that you already know the importance of breakfast, right? You've heard the phrase, it is the most important meal of the day. Why do you think that is? Why is breakfast so important?
Because you fasted on it. Break.
That's right. You have to break the fast. So a lot of times you'll be surprised if people say, I want to lose weight, and they come in, well, I'm eating just one meal a day. And I say, well, the first thing is, let's get you eating breakfast. And that can be the key. So this is a sunshine lemon smoothie. Okay? So the hope would be that it could be your first in the morning. So what we got going on here is we're going to do a single portion, and keep in mind we got to keep things in moderation. We've got 1 cup of skim milk, so we're going to get some of our calcium in, and we're going to use it in a low-fat form. Then, right here in our local grocery store, we've got the lemon yogurts, low-fat lemon yogurts. Now, I hear a lot of people saying they're cutting dairy out of their diet when they're trying to lose weight. I strongly discourage that. Your dairy can be a great source of calcium, and it also can give you the protein and the vitamin D that you need to keep you healthy. What have you heard about vitamin D?
Sunshine vitamin.
Sunshine vitamin, yeah. So on a day like this that's overcast, and we live in the Midwest, so we get a lot of not sunshiny days in the winter, we're not getting enough vitamin D. So we're looking to try to get more in the foods that we eat, and a lot of foods are fortified with vitamin D. Our calcium is a great example of that. Our milks, our yogurts, our cheeses are all fortified with vitamin D. Vitamin D, originally we talked about using it to prevent rickets. Well, we don't hear about rickets very much anymore, but we're also seeing that a high level of vitamin D in your blood can show that you are resistant to cold and flu-like symptoms. You can also see that we see improved heart health with vitamin D intake. So all of that can be a benefit for you. So this little 1 cup serving, 160 calories, put that in here, lemon flavor. Ah, good point. Yep, they bind together to be absorbed together. Yep, you need vitamin D and calcium combined together.
And you can have vitamin D blood test to see if you're getting enough.
Yep. Absolutely. A serum blood test. A blood test can do that.
What did you plant her here to ask?
I did. And look, she even wore the bright yellow color to promote the sunshine. So, just to give it a little bit more flavor, I'm going to use a Country Time lemonade. You can use Crystal Light, whatever you prefer, lemon flavor. And then let's put a little bit of ice in there. Ice is a great way to make it a thicker smoothie consistency, because otherwise you're going to end up with mostly milk.
Now, how much of that did you put in? This is like an awful lot for 1 serving.
A tablespoon and a half.
How much you put in for?
Well, this is actually going to give us 2 servings. Alright, so you can just use a traditional blender at home. I thought for us it'd be easier to use the emulsion blender. So here's the noise component. Oh, hold on to the table.
Sounds like a hammer drill.
Yeah. Well, I saw the table vibrating there when I was hitting the ice cubes.
I think you're going through it.
So, do I have any willing volunteers to sample our lemon smoothie? Alright. So it's like the king and his popper, right? If he tests it and falls over, nobody else should drink it.
I'll watch his reaction. Thank you, miss. How is it?
Lemonade?
It's not overly sweet.
It's not overly sweet? I thought it would be. Then what's that over there?
So this is the same thing. I just made 2 batches so you can see it. So obviously it doesn't have a lot of color and components to it, so it's not going to have the rich vitamin C that we're looking for. So what can we do to add to this smoothie?
Strawberry.
Strawberries, kiwis, and blueberries.
Absolutely, we can add all those things to it.
I suppose strawberry ice cream is out of the question.
You can make ice cream and strawberries part of your diet. Yep. So by adding the fruit to it, we're going to increase our fiber content. And especially if we can do anything with the natural seeds in it. So your strawberries, blueberries, and your kiwis have natural high fiber seeds that are there to help increase the fiber. Any idea how much fiber we're supposed to get a day?
35 grams.
Yeah, minimum of 25, but yes, they're promoting trying to get 35 grams of fiber. On average, we're all getting less than 10. So it's something we need to work on. Now fiber is great for bowel health, improves your bowel movements, also can help decrease your cholesterol. I'm sure you've heard the Cheerios commercials. So it's a great way that you can get natural foods that can help you keep healthy. Also what I brought there are chia seeds and flax seeds. Okay, have you heard about these at all? Flax, okay. So what this is they're a good source of omega-3s. Omega-3s are a heart-healthy fat. We need fat in our diet, we just need them to come from these omega-3 fatty acids. Traditionally, I want you to get it in your fish. Salmon, tuna, mackerel, sardines, herring are the rich sources of these omega-3s. But a lot of people tell me, I don't eat fish. I don't eat fish at all. So what we're trying to do is try to find a way that we can get omega-3s in your diet in another form. So, the flax seed is a little bit more difficult to work with. This is the ground flax seed. It has to be ground to get the nutrients out of it. Okay? It needs to be ground or cracked. You can buy it already ground, like an example like this. You can buy it at Hy-Vee, yep. Or you can buy it whole and you can just get a mini coffee grinder and grind it in small portions for yourself. Since it's such a rich source of fat, it can start to go rancid or lose its consistency pretty quickly. So it does need to be kept in the fridge or the freezer and away from anything hot. So you don't want to store this up next to your stove where it consistently is getting warm. So flaxseed has to be ground or cracked, and it needs to be kept in the fridge or the freezer.
But if you do all those things, how long will it last?
3 months is what they traditionally say. Yep. So that's the hard part about this large bag. It's going to take me a while to go through this large bag. So the best bet would be buy the whole unground, because then they can last for 6 months easily or longer. It's once you grind it that it starts to that chemical process. Yep, these are over in the health food market at Hy-Vee. Yep. The other thing is chia seeds. Have you heard of these? Okay, now they're chia, like the chia pet. That's what this is.
Oh, nothing like chia tea. Isn't there chia tea?
Oh, chai tea. Yep. So the chia seeds, if you remember them when they have the commercial, they mix them with water and it makes kind of this paste and you spread it over the chia pet. Well, they're very absorbent, 10 times their weight in water. So they're easy to work with, except because of their absorbency, you probably want to add water to them before you add them to the recipe, because they'll suck the water out of it. So for example, if you're trying to add it to blueberry muffins, do your tablespoon of this and 1/4 of a cup of water. Let it sit for just a little bit. It'll form a gel. Actually, here, I'll show you.
So what's it taste like?
Minimal taste. So just let that sit in there for a little bit. The consistency is about like strawberry seeds. Like strawberry seeds. Yep, you could add that to a smoothie. You can add it to muffin recipes, baked goods, cookies, chocolate chip cookies, anything like that.
You don't need to grind those like you do
Right.
with flax.
That's the nice thing about the chia seeds. They don't have to be ground. They're shelf stable like this. I was just going to check the expiration on this one because they're much easier to work with. They actually were, the Mayans were using this as when they went on their hunting And they would use a tablespoon a day to be their nutrition, their energy to go on their hunting expeditions. So it's a very...
Help them draw the calendar.
They messed up. But also a great source of fiber. So the wonderful thing about both of these things is all that fiber component with the omega-3s. The disadvantage would be is since I told you we only usually get about 10 grams of fiber, if you start using something like this, it's a lot more fiber than what your body's probably used to. So I say start it in moderation. Yeah, it's great for the balance and our body will adapt. One tablespoon a day is what they like to get you up to, but like I said, start slower than that.
So tablespoons how many grams of fiber?
Oh, that's a good question. Does it tell us our fiber?
Yeah.
6 grams of fiber.
6.1 grams. And protein is 3.1. But that's a big scoop.
How do you taste it?
Is that a tablespoon?
I would say it's a little bit more than
I was
2,
going to say it's
but definitely less than a quarter.
What's the difference between soluble and insoluble fiber?
Great, yep. You do, and that's the big thing. You need soluble and insoluble because you want both of them. One helps bulk the stools together so that they move through the system, and the other helps move it through the system more regularly. So your soluble and your insoluble are a component you need in both. So you need both your fruits and vegetables and your whole grain breads and cereals like your oatmeal to be a balance between the two. One, you can picture it like your fruits and your vegetables a little more solid looking, so that's your insoluble, and your soluble is the ones that kind of turn to a pudding or a mush, so your oatmeal and whole grain bread. Correct. No, actually I'd probably put that as a soluble, because it turns into this paste. Get close. Yeah, nice thick. It turns into thick gel.
Do you see it? 513. So it depends on who bought it.
Do you have to blend that up before you put it into like a muffin? Stir it or
You're
mix
supposed to mix it, yep, with just a spoon to blend it, but you're not supposed to have to crack it or grind it at all. So it's supposed to be easily added to the recipe. Well, I hope that you learned some easy,
This
simple
does not have to be
smoothie,
in the refrigerator.
smoothie recipes that you can add more things to or you can incorporate into your breakfast plan. Obviously, if you already have a great breakfast plan, stick with it, but this is something you can use to kind of change it up. What's that? Right. Yep. So this can be something quick, easy. You can have that ready to go in the car as you leave even. Have your smoothie ready to go. Travels pretty easily. I often hear people say I don't have time to eat breakfast, so this is one of those examples of a quick breakfast. Good, so we talked about calcium, we talked about fiber, we talked about vitamin D, and we talked about vitamin C. So you kind of got a component of all the different things that can go into a healthy breakfast. Any Stump the Dietitian questions? I get that question a lot. Carbohydrate-wise and fiber-wise, they're exactly the same. But because of the natural orange color, it's higher in vitamin C. The sweet potatoes are going to be higher in vitamin C. Still good sources of potassium, but you're going to have more vitamin C. What I would say about eating potatoes, if I can get you to eat it with the skin on it, that's the key. Yep, that's the fiber. That's where you're trying to get your fiber.
What about the people that say no white potatoes, white flour, white sugar?
Yeah, it's a good start in the thought process of trying to get more complex carbs, but really what I need you to focus on is not just getting rid of those things, but putting in more complex carbs in their place. So instead of having just the white bread, try to use the whole grain bread, instead of the white sugar, trying to cut back on your sugar overall and try to sweeten things with maybe your fruits to give you that sweet taste plus the vitamins and minerals.
Is there a big difference between a cracked wheat and wheat in terms of like bread, in terms
that you'll get a whole grain is that keyword whole. And you look at the ingredient list and you really want it the first ingredient. You want to see whole corn, whole wheat, whole rye, whole barley, whatever it is. It needs to be whole and then that grain name.
Why is it cracked not as good?
Well, I just want to make sure that it is the whole thing, because you can crack it and you can still bleach it and separate it and add everything.
Kernel, the thing in the middle.
Exactly. Yep. So there's a lot of terms like multi-grain, high in fiber, stone ground, but I can't guarantee that that actually means it is the whole kernel grain that gets used. So I always flip over to the ingredient list and check and make sure the first thing listed is whole wheat, whole grain, whatever.
So does that mean that it has to be in the whole form when they put it in, or can it be cracked?
Absolutely. It is cracked or ground.
Okay.
But the whole thing goes into it. So you fill it and it goes all in.
It doesn't break that down in the back, even if it says cracked on the front. It says whole on it might say whole on the back because they put the whole thing in after they crack it.
Yeah, everything on the front of the label is to get you to buy it. So they can say just about anything that sounds good. But the only way to know for sure is to flip it over and read that ingredient list. In fact, I've got a display over there about how to read food labels. So take a chance to come over there and we'll look at some food labels and test some of those hypotheses. Great. Good. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, grab a section.
The only way back sounds good is over there way out.
Yep.
I heard somebody say where it was.
Do that. Yeah. Okay. So would you want to do that instead of the milk or the powder mix? Yeah, you can do that. See, for me, I would have to have a certain mix. You know, it's okay, but I think it needs that. Yep. Yep. I'm going to hit the stop on this so I can keep recording.
Oh, I'm standing right in front of it.